Good morning, everyone. You are all welcome here in this session. We wait for 1 or 2 minutes more. A few more participants are about to join. Hi, Benmay, Barcelona. How are you? Good morning. Good morning, Susmita. Just wait for 2 more minutes. We are going to start the session. People are joining. So let's start the session. Uh, this session is of for data analytics. This is the demo session again. This is for data analytics and machine learning. So most of you have already attended the previous session of data science with Python. And there is a difference between both the programs. That data science with Python has a very in-depth in the sense with coding and some other tools which are required to deploy the model. It is more concerned with the robust coding side. But this data analytics is a different. It is being generally for non-technical person can do this, and it is more concerned with the inference, the interpretation of your results, what you are getting through the inference and analysis, through the predictive modeling. So we could interpret the things, we could generate the report, and we could present it. So there is a difference. The basic difference is that in both the courses, data science course is we could say that it is a complete stack. I will explain it in my PPT, all the things. In the evening, we have another demonstration for the research methodology and inference analysis, the statistical analysis. That is from 7 to 9. That is other thing. There is no predictive modeling powers. That is the research methodology. For the academician, we are using that statistical analysis. So let me share my screen with you, and I just open my PPT. Just, just a minute. Uh, Please you rename. Some people came with some mobile name is their Galaxy M51. Please you rename. We have given you the option right to rename yourself. So during session we could interact. Okay. Let me me share my screen with you first. Yeah. I hope you are getting my screen. Am I audible to you clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let us continue with this data analytics and machine learning workshop. We will do some practical hands-on also here. First, I explain the thing, the persons who are just being introduced by these topics. So there, in this workshop, I will explain how we use the R in Python and both merits and demerits in respect of data analytics, with respect of data analytics. And here you see we have the upper half, we have so many tools which we use for performing the data science activity or the data analytics and the other analysis. We have various tools like advanced Excel, we have the Tableau for the data visualization, Sage for the statistical analysis, MySQL for database, Hadoop is for big data, SPSS for statistical analysis. We have the R for data analytics tool. We have Python for data analytics and data science. And we, with the help of these all tools, we perform tasks to analyze the statistical analysis, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, data science, data analytics, etc. So there are various tools which helps us to do this all sort of things. Basically, we have four types of analysis. So descriptive analysis, inferential analysis, predictive analysis, prescriptive analysis. It is also known as the perspective analysis, the prescriptive analysis. Generally, the more people know about prescriptive analysis. As we have various methods to do the analysis, is different sort of. But in the predictive analysis, we have three main method, which is the I could say the four, not three: supervised, unsupervised, semi-supervised, and the reinforcement learning. And every method has a various algorithm. It is only in the predictive analysis part, which is called the machine learning. So in the descriptive analysis, I will explain in detail all sort of analysis later on. We have the various algorithm like in the predictive you will see the k nearest neighbor, the linear regression model, logistic regression model. We have many other decision tree, random forest, time series analysis, night base, support vector machine. Okay. There are so many. Through these, we could perform some sentiment analysis also from the Twitter account and through the Facebook comments. Okay, Tahir, you are unable to hear me. Others are getting my voice. I hope so. If Tahir, you are unable to getting my voice, then you log out and log in again. I think that is the problem from technical UI. It is a technical problem from your end. So you log out and log in again. Don't worry. Okay. So I think other are getting my voice. Yes. Yes or no? Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So Tahir, you log out and log in again. Okay. Now, I hope my voice is now okay. It is audible. It is volume is good.
It's okay, sir.
Okay. Maybe it may be from your end you are getting the low voice. I hope so. Okay. So please you rename yourself Vivo 1938. We have given you the right to, you could just right click on your participants. There is a rename column. Otherwise, you could write your name on the chat box. I could rename it. Okay. So there is a churning analysis in the telecom industry. And the meta-analysis, if there are so many researchers done on the same topic, then we accumulately do the meta-analysis, what is the variance and the differences in their outcomes. Pandemic analysis like the COVID-19 and this all. Market basket analysis, customer segment analysis, this all we could do through these all algorithm. We could use this all algorithm in this sort of analysis. Later on, I explain a few more things. The data science process. So here you see, this is first we collect the data and we clean the data. So you see something is overlapping. The data engineers and the data analysts are overlapping in the cleaning part. So what does it mean? So the major cleaning and we could say the macro cleaning is done by the data engineers. They collect the data from the various sources and make available to the data analysts. And they do the macro cleaning of the data. And later on, when it hands over to the data analyst, they do the micro cleaning of data, like the missing values, the outliers. These are all called the micro cleaning. So we do in this. And the data analyst first doing the cleaning and the data and this all pre-processing. It is the part of the pre-processing. Then they perform the expertise data analysis. When you read some data, you have to explore the data. What is the nature of each and every behavior? What is the relation between two variables and the other with other variables, one variables with other variables? So this is done by the EDA, expertise data analysis, and there are three types of expertise data analysis like univariate, bivariate, and multivariate analysis we perform through this. And there is a model building later on comes in existence. Model building and the expertise data analysis, we also perform some inference analysis in the academic part. The model building, it is already there. If we make any model, machine learning model, there is some hypothesis testing. This all comes over inside that. And through the p-value, we find out which variable is significantly impact on the target variable, which is not impacting on the target variable. As per that, we remove those non-significant variables from our model, and then we retune the model and we find it out. And at the last stage, we tune the model with hyperparameter. So this is the process of data analyst. The main concentration on the inference of the result. Interpretation, report making, this all comes here. If you see the machine learning experts, if we talk about, so that is a model building is also there in the machine learning expert. They also do the deep learning expert is also there. That is the subdomain of machine learning basically. And they deploy the model deployment. So that is the data scientist, the whole role. So in the previous session, which we have given the demo, it will cover the data scientist, whole the data collection to model deployment. So, but in data analytics course, it is more towards concern to inference part. Okay, not we go to the deployment of model. We will inference the model, the whatever the statistics we are getting, we will interpret this, okay, the report this. So this is the difference between both course. Let us see the various roles which I have explained here. The data engineer role. So data engineers are one who will ensure the required data pipelines are in place, ensuring good quality of data and timely delivery of the data to everyone who needs to work with the data, and like the data analyst and the data analyst. Data engineer work to prepare and make a raw data more useful for analytical or operational uses. And this is the role of data engineer, which is the first part. Good morning, Dimpy. Good morning. And what are the skills required for the data engineer? So they are basically the IT persons, data warehousing ability to write, analyze, and debug SQL queries, experience in working with big data platform like Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, Veeam, Pig, Hive, etc. Experience in handling data pipeline, workflow management tools like Kaban, Luigi, Airflow, etc. And the experience in handling stream processing systems such as Storm and Spark streaming. Strong communication skills is required in data. If uh, if I tell you the CTC in the Indian perspective, so that is the national average salary of the data engineer is 7,70,360. This is the expense of 1 year, or maybe like that. The languages and tools which is required the SQL, Python, Hive, Pig, Java, C++, Hadoop, Spark, Kafka, Pika, and Airflow, Luigi, AWS, GCP, Azure. This all is required in the data engineering. Later, the second role, if we see about the data and the BI analyst, data analyst and the BI analyst. So BI analyst, I will explain. It is more concerned with the visualization reporting. Data analysts are responsible for collecting, processing, analyzing the data to help the company find insights from it, which helps in taking business decisions. BI analysts are nothing but data analysts, but more focused on the visualization side, the reporting aspect of it. So the skills required for the data BI analyst is the programming skills in the Python and R, solid understanding of database management systems like the MySQL, SQL skills, good data visualizations skills, and proficient with the Tableau or the Power BI or the ClickView, whatever the data visualization software. The basic understanding of the predictive modeling is also required in the data analysis. The basic understanding of predictive modeling, the machine learning, linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest. This all. The CTC, if we talk about it is near about 5 lakhs. It is the not a fresher one, it is the 1 year experience person. Average CTC. And languages tools, as I explained the skill set, the SQL, Excel, some analysis we do on the Excel also. Sometimes we verify with Excel, Python, R, Tableau, Power BI, ClickView, basic as big data, basics of clouds. These things they must know. Then ML engineer. So the role the ML engineer mostly people from software engineer background. Okay, who are responsible to take the data science use cases and make it deployable. Okay, whatever the data analyst make a model, it will transfer to the data ML engineer. They will deploy it at the end, and they are also responsible for updating and maintaining the deployed ML models time to time. So skill set is required understanding the data structures, data modeling, software architecture. They are the IT person basically. And deep knowledge of math, probability, statistics, and algorithm, ability to write robust code in Python, as I explained you. Yeah, in the previous demo, yes, in there is a robust code is required. And Java and R, familiarity with machine learning frameworks like Keras and PyTorch, TensorFlow, we could also like that, and the libraries like scikit-learn, etc. CTC, if we see here, in the Indian perspective, it is the 7,68,000. They're about 8 lakhs. So languages, tools, Python, machine learning, algorithm, deep learning, natural language processing, Java, database management system, cloud architecture, big data architecture, AWS, GCP, Azure. So these are all required. We talk about the data scientists. So the role of data scientists are people with non-linear mindset and are expected to use predictive modeling or descriptive analysis to solve a business problem. They are expected to know how to extract data, uh, find insights, visualize it, create model, and if needed, how to make the solution production ready. They are usually expected to be a good with the predictive model. Skill set, the excellent programming skills are required here in Python and R, and its data science libraries like Pandas, scikit-learn, there are so many. And experience with RDB, DMS, the relational database management system, and SQL, good with data storytelling, visualization also. Understanding of big data in the cloud systems, good ML frameworks like TensorFlow, Kafka. CTC is near about 10 lakhs. And the languages tools, Python, R, SQL, TensorFlow, Keras, which I explained, they are the same here. So these are the data scientists. And the one more role, which is the business analyst. So business analysts are people who are responsible for liaising between business users and the technologies, because the technologies can be different terminology. They don't have the domain knowledge of the user side. The business users domain knowledge is different, and the technology persons are different. So there is a gap which is being fulfilled by the business analyst in the IT sector. The business analysts are the people who are responsible for liaising between business users and the technologies to exchange information in a concise, logical, and understandable way in the coordination with the technology team. Okay. And this does not necessarily involve the use of data science skills, but having data skills would be likely more someone a more compelling candidate for data analysis. So if you have the data science knowledge, some algorithm knowledge, not about the coding I'm talking about, but if you know the various algorithm where we use, so it would be better for the business analyst. If somebody doesn't like coding, so he learned this data science in the perspective to be a business analyst, and he could perform well. So domain understanding means the domain of the user side, business domain, requirement gathering, domain in the both the data science domain, which with the team you have to work, and the business user. Or domain understanding is very important. Requirement gathering, requirement elicitation, process excellence, wireframing, prototyping, user acceptance testing, documentation, provides basic data analysis skills. So cities is near about 6x. So languages tools Excel, Visio, SQL, Tableau, wireframing looks like Excel and RPVs. So these are all. So if we see the role hierarchy of these all sort of roles, so they are more similar. BI analyst, senior BI analyst, BI manager. Similarly, we will get everywhere, and then the director, VP, president, analytics, and this all. The same, all would be same. So now we start with the because you know that the wherever data there is statistics. Okay, data is everywhere. Data is every means if you see a tree, there is a data. There is a different size of leaves. There is a different color of leaves. The different shapes of leaves in the same tree. So there is a data. Everywhere is a data. The thing which is more than one is called the data. One is not a data. Okay. So the God is one. The God is not a data, but we are data. We are data. We are many. So we see the difference between statistic, data analytics, and the data science here in an easy way. We see the generic definition of statistics is a science and art of collecting, classifying, computing, analyzing, interpreting, presentation of data and its insights. So it is a science and art both. We collect the data, we classify the data, then we compute the data. Compute the data, we use some method, find out the mean, median, mode, whatever the statistics are here. There are so many statistics. After computing the result data, we got some result. Mostly we got in the numeric form. So we analyze that thing, and after that we interpret it and present the data. Presentation, the result of the data, whatever the insights of the data, in the form of figure, in the form of table, in the form of text. So that this is a statistics. So, but the data analysis, if we talk about, so it is a process. It is not a science and art. It is a process of inspecting the data. How you could inspect the data. There is a process how to inspect the data. There is a big data. You just not watch the big data on your screen, and you could not go through for the whole data in a one view. You could not understand anything. You just get the numbers in the data or the whatever the categories or whatever the column. You will just see. You could not inspect it. You could view, but you could not inspect. So data analysis is a process of inspect the data. How to inspect the data, and then after inspecting, you have to clean the data. Cleansing. Later on, transforming the data as per our requirement, the rows and columns and whatever. And finally, modeling data with the goal of discovering useful information and informing conclusions. whatever the conclusion you are getting and supporting in decision making, we support them in decision making. So that is the data analysis basically. Now we talk about the data science. Data science is an umbrella term. It encompasses data analytics, data mining, machine learning, deep learning, everything, several other related disciplines. Data science is an interdisciplinary field that use scientific methods, process, algorithms, systems to access knowledge and insights from many structured and unstructured data. Data science is related to data mining, machine learning, and big data. So this is the things about the statistics, data analysis, and the data science. So there is a question at the end of this slide. What is first statistics? Yeah, statistics, you know that the mean, mode, median, standard deviation, these are all called the statistics. So can you write on the chat box what is the first statistics? What you measure first? Yes. Can somebody on the chat box? Whatever you have in your mind. Right. What is the first statistics? Yes. Mean. Kabesi is telling mean. Someone else? Yeah, anyone? What is first statistics? Counting total numbers. Marcelina. Very near, very near, very near. Counting is a tally. We are telling the data. That is from inside the data. We are not calculating anything. We're just taking how many times particular thing is. Can you represent the counting in some other way? Marcelina? Counting, we could represent with some other thing. Collection of information. That is a process. That is not a statistics. Lakshmi, collection of information is a process. Yes, Marcelina, can you reply that the counting total numbers can we represent? Can we use some other thing instead of counting, instead of frequency? Number of observation is a.
So we can use mode.
No, mode is a whichever having the higher frequency, that value is called the mode. Okay. We could present. I will give an. We could present the frequency in the form of percentage. It would be better. If I say that in this workshop, if I say that in this workshop we have 7 females or 8 females, if I say that 8 females are in this workshop, there are 24 participants overall. If I just say that 8 females are there in this workshop of data analytics, so is it giving you the complete information without knowing the total number of participants? 8 females are there. Is it the complete information you are getting? You could analyze something through this. Could
No,
go to
sir.
some conclusion. Yes.
So we can use bar chart or pie chart.
Yeah, that's the presentation. Lakshmi written the right thing, the proportion, the percentage. If I
Yes.
say that there are 24 total members and the participants in this workshop, and the 8 are females, so it is the 25% of 24. So if I say that the 25% were female, so it would be better presentation,
No, sir.
better statistics or not, then frequency. What you say? If you
Yes,
say the
sir.
8 females are there, it is giving up the complete information. Or if you said the 25% were female there, which one is better? Yeah.
Total must be necessary, sir.
If you are telling the counting, then the total is necessary. If you are not telling the counting, then only the percentage will show you the 1/4 part of female are there, 25%. So it is giving us the complete information. The first statistics, what we are using here in the descriptive analysis, is the percentage. The percentage, how does it come? So it is the proportion multiplied by 100%. So proportion is what? The favorable outcome over total outcome. Favorable outcome over total outcome. That is a proportion. So that is nothing. That is a probability. Proportion is a probability in the primary phase. So the probability we multiply by 100%, we get the percentage. The first statistics is probability. The statistics starts with probability and statistics ends with probability. So the starting and end of statistics is the probability. How does it end with the probability? So the persons who have attended the previous demo with Mr. Anubhav Karelia, who explained about the pneumonia model, practical pneumonia model, he explained. And you have seen that it is giving us the probability of the pneumonia, the various probability of the pneumonia. Okay. And the one model he also explained, I think that the MNIST. So that is the number recognition 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it is giving us the various probability of what it is giving to 8, it is giving to 3, it is giving to 2. So it is end with the probability. The highest probability catch up and it will give you, it is 8. Okay. So the same thing, the artificial intelligence, the machine learning, inference analysis also. Inference analysis, we perform the hypothesis testing and we conclude with the probability. We have the various methods for concluding the inferential analysis, the hypothesis testing, whether it is rejected or accepted. So we conclude with the probability. If it is less than 0.05, then it is rejected, null hypothesis is rejected, and the alternate hypothesis is accepted, the 95% confidence level. If it is less than 0.01, so it is rejected at 99% confidence level or the 1% level of significance. So that is the thing, that it ends up with probability. Any sort of analysis ends with the probability. So probability is the starting of the statistics. Probability is the end of the statistics. Okay. So the soul of statistics is probability. Not only the soul of statistics, is the soul of machine learning, soul of inference analysis is statistics. Does that make sense to you? Are you agree with me? Okay. Now, I will not go to the point that why it is science and why it is art, statistics. There is a small data set we have here on your screen. Can you calculate the mean for me? What is the mean of this data set? Yes. Okay, Taniska. 8, correct. Other one? Can someone else calculate the mean? 8. Correct. Nice. So I have seen that everybody is getting the same mean, right? Why it is so? Because we are having a particular formula by which we are calculating it. If we are not conducting any calculation mistake, we all get the same mean, because the aggregation of all numbers, we are dividing by the count of numbers, count of elements. So everybody will get the same mean. So it is a science. No, science always gives the uniform result, whether it is done by the fresher or it is being done by any experienced person. If I am more experienced than you, it doesn't mean that my mean would be better than your mean. Mean would be same for everybody. That is a science. Just you mixture the acid and base, what you get in the result, you get the salt and what? Nobody could get the alcohol out of it. Okay. So science always gives the same result, uniform results. But if we talk about the uh, statistics and art also, art requires some experience. Okay, it does not give the same result. So I will show you that slide also. Look at this glass of water. How do we interpret this? How do we interpret this? Can somebody, what would be the interpretation of this? Yes, yes. Please write on the chat box. What would be the? Yes, a glass with half of water. Correct. Lavanya. Other fellow, half glass is full, half filled. Correct. So these are the interpretation is given by you. Some is telling it is half filled, some is telling it is half empty. The two types of interpretation we have. But whenever you get a result, Marcelina is giving the right answer, the 50% water and 50% air. This is the correct interpretation. So what happens when you, Marcelina had already attended my previous workshop. So some people says that it is the half empty. And some says that it is half filled. And these are the two, and general people will do these two interpretation. But whenever you get a result in a statistics, behind that value, lots of things are hidden. And you have to search out that thing through the analysis. That is called the analysis process. And then you could do the interpretation. Result, you analyze the result. That is that requires the experience. And then you provide the interpretation of that. These two things require your experience. And wherever the experience is required, that is called art. So in this case, some says that the half empty and half water, but the right interpretation of this glass of water would be this glass is full. Half with water and half with air. Does that make sense to you? So why it is an art? So statistics is an art also. So now I clear it. Now we come to the next slide. We could not cover the whole thing in one slide, in one session. I just the data exploration, which I explained, you explore the data. This is the very first process after reading the data. In the exploring the data, we do the exploratory data analysis. I will not explain each and everything in detail. The data wrangling is there, the discovering, structuring, cleaning, and reaching publishing. It is also called the data mining. Data mining is there. Whenever you don't have any object, you go deep dive in the data and you mine it. You find out the precious stones from that, the good insights from the data. Data mining involves 6 common classes. I will explain this all in our training session. Not here, I could explain the whole things. Data warehousing is also structured, semi-structured, and structured data. come to the classification of analysis. So, which I have already explained in the starting of this session. There are four types of analysis: descriptive, inferential, predictive, and prescriptive analysis. So, what is descriptive analysis? So, you know that the descriptive analysis I have written here, the what is whatever you have in the data, how many females are there, how many males are there, how many marks of average marks of a student of so and so class, what is the average marks of this subject, that and these all things, the statistics, whatever the mean, mode, median, measure of central tendency, measure of dispersion, correlation, coefficient of correlation, these are all the descriptive analysis. So whatever you have in the data, that is called it. What is what. Now the second type is the inference, and why it is. If there is a two section in a class of 10, and we are comparing the average marks of mathematics of the both the section A and section B. We want to compare it. There may be difference in the average marks of the two sections, but that difference is significant or not. The thing comes whether it is significant or non-significant. So we use some hypothesis and we test that hypothesis with some sort of test, and we through the result we see whether our hypothesis is rejected or accepted. As per this, we decide if there is significant difference or not. If there is significant difference occurs between the average marks of both the sections, then we try to find out the reason, cause, why this difference is happening, why the marks of section B students are lower, significantly lower than section A. There is a difference in the teaching pattern, the teacher are different, or the students are having low IQ than section A. So this cause we have to find out, and the time of the period. It may be after lunch or the before lunch or what. There may be that the period is also to take the extraneous factor. Very. So these are why it is. So this is the study of cause and effect, inference and analysis. Later on we see. Thanks, Tinti. Thanks for your compliment. So now the predictive analysis. What will be? It is the prediction. We are making some prediction. Suppose we have a data of historic data of last 50 years of a certain region of rain and crop production of a certain district, suppose, or certain country, whatever. At that moment, we train a model. Okay, it is the simple linear regression model we have trained for that, and that is the crop production is depends on rain. We know that the rain is the one of the important factor for the crop production. So it depends on that. Okay. So we have trained one model with last 50 years of data. And this year rain figures we have. And we input that rain figure here, which is in millimeter. And we get the crop production in metric ton. So this would be the crop production this year. So it will predict. So this rain, along with this rain, you will get this metric ton crop production. So this is the predictive analysis. Okay. It is giving us the prediction. I would like to ask you one more question. That is, yes, Dr. Ajita, I will sign the presentation material along with one file. So, there is, I would like to ask you one question that there are two things. One is prediction, and second one is forecasting. So what is the difference between prediction and forecasting? Yeah, write on the chat. What is the difference between prediction and forecasting? Yes. Yeah, I would like please you write it because it will make the session interactive. Yes, yes. Forecast is the future value. Nuba, correct, right? And about prediction, I will explain. The prediction is based on some current output, inputs, current inputs you put inside, and then you get the prediction. Just like here, the crop, we are predicting the crop. Okay. When we talk about the forecasting, you have the previous data like the time series, and you have the only one variable, which is the crop production or the rain. We have the rain data, and we could predict as the trend, we could predict what would be the rain this year. Forecast the rain. It is not a prediction of rain. It is the forecasting the rain. The previous trend we are getting and we are making the forecast. But if we have some inputs like the speed of wind, humidity, current data inputs, okay, direction of wind, this sort of data we have, then it is not only a forecasting, it is a prediction. Forecasting with prediction. You are doing forecasting, it is a prediction basically. So the you know that in the previous before 5 years, the weather department forecast something. The rain will occur tomorrow. So we see there is no rain, there is a sunshine. Before 5 years, I am talking about. If the weather department says that there would be a shiny day tomorrow, that there is raining. That is the forecasting. They are just measuring through the past data. Okay, whatever the data you have previous. But in the prediction way, what they do nowadays, they predict the storm will come, the particular storm is about to come on that particular coastal area at this time. Okay, so that is a prediction. So prediction are more accurate than forecasting. Okay, now we have various models in machine learning like the Arimax, where we use the forecasting and prediction both. We also impute the current variable, current inputs, and as per the trend we also. So the both thing we mix, and that is in the time series we could do this thing. So they are using this application nowadays in the weather prediction and the weather forecasting. So we are getting the correct forecasting. Okay. So this is the difference between prediction and forecasting. So the predictive, I have explained you the prediction model, predictive model. Here the machine learning starts. What will be? Okay. And suppose there is not only the rain which impact on the production of crop. There are some other variables like the crop production not only impacted by uh, rain. There are some other variables I will explain you. Rain, soil, soil quality we have, seed quality, we have fertilizers, we have pesticides, we have irrigation, and we have sunlight. What it? Few factors are not in our control. What are they? So the rain is not in our hand, sunlight is not in. Soil quality is whatever you have, it is not in our control. But we could improve this soil quality through the fertilizers. We could manipulate it. But rain and sunlight we could not manipulate. Seed quality, we have various seed quality. As per the soil, we have to use the seed. We have the various seed quality. Pesticide, as per the disease, we have to use the pesticides to the crop. Irrigation, the water pouring, watering the field, how frequently you have to watering the. So you have all these you have applied and you have got some prediction for a region. With this metric ton, X metric ton production would be this year. But the demand is Y metric ton. So our supply, which is the X metric ton, which is very, very less than the demand, which is Y metric ton. Is it clear? So now minimize this gap. The artificial intelligence comes in everything. So what does it do? I will explain you the difference between both also. It will recommend you. It will recommend you as per the soil quality. It will recommend you the fertilizer. What sort of fertilizer in what quantity you have to apply on the field. It will recommend you scientifically. It will recommend you the seed as per the soil and the fertilizers. This seed you will apply. Okay. And it will recommend you the pesticide as per the disease. As per the sunlight, it will recommend you the irrigation, the frequency of irrigation, how frequently you have to watering the field, daily or twice a week or once a week, whatever, twice a day. It depends on the sunlight. So it will recommend you. It is a continuous process. It will recommend you. Then after that, you will see that it will minimize the gap between your prediction, what we have made earlier, and actual result, what you are getting after applying the recommendation of this AI. This is the artificial intelligence. Up to now, the human intelligence was working on this. The some experts they advise them for your soil is this type, you use this fertilizer. There was a human intelligence, and the human intelligence sometimes bias. You know that the doctor mostly prescribe the medicine whose representative are coming to them and giving them the more commission, more incentives. They will prescribe that medicine. The same thing is here in the fertilizer distribution. They all. So they may be biased sometimes, but AI may not be biased. Okay. So it will give you the right suggestion as per the model we have trained, and it will minimize the gap between supply and demand. So it is a prescriptive analysis. So now what is the difference between ML and AI? It is nothing. ML is an infant, is a small child, and the AI is an adult. But this is the difference. So ML learns through various algorithms, supervised, unsupervised, reinforcement, semi-supervised learning with the data, and we are again and again feeding the data. Then it could understand the pattern and it will work, recommend you bet. Okay, so that is the AI basically in artificial intelligence. You, as we have seen that our child is up to the sixth or the 10th standard, we suggest him, you purchase this thing, you purchase this shirt and this trouser and this. But when he is in the college, he recommend you, he suggest you Papa, you don't purchase this mobile. You purchase this one has the good feature. Now he's intellectual. Okay, he's an adult. So he has learned so many things in his life. So he's suggesting you back. So that is the thing with the AI and NLP. So now we proceed to some new slides. Just a moment. So I will just explain you few things that which are being various types of analysis we perform. We have a gender, location, age, past movies. We have a factors responsible sales reduction. We have a viewing websites, today's traffic, and predicting stock pricing movement. So I will explain you one by one what sort of analysis this. So here I have written the four one. So when we do the predictive modeling for this gender, location, age, past movies. So let's start with recommending movies. The recommendation AI, how does it work? So it will past, future. The past is horror movies. The future unwatched horror movies it will recommend. Similar people suggestion for you. What for? So which we have seen when you watch something in the YouTube, you will get the recommendation from there. You also use some Netflix or some Max Play or some other mobile app. Then you see they recommend you as per your choice the movies. That is the AI they have applied here. So it is the predictive model we use here in this way. And later on, descriptive analysis we talk about. That is the predictive analysis. The example of the predictive analysis of the artificial intelligence about the movie recommendation. Here, the website traffic if we talk about. So what sort of this analysis? This is a descriptive analysis. No past data is required here. No future outcome required. So it is the current you are getting. Oh, this is this much traffic is coming. You'll see the picture. It is a descriptive. And the detective analysis task, the factor responsible for sales reduction, analyzing past data, and no future outcomes or forecast. We just analyze the past data and we give the our interpretation, the inferences, why your sales is going down. We are not making any predictive analysis. So this is the detective analysis task. And there is one more predictive modeling, uh, stock price movement. So analyzing past stock price, analyzing similar stocks, and future stock price required. So we could predict that. That is a various. I will just explain some more. Let's continue with some practical work. I don't want to give more theories here, so we go with some practical. With R and Python, I will explain you the various sort of analysis, how we perform these and practically. Okay. So here I am taking one small data set and I just take one. So here you see, I just take one default data set of R. R is better for data analytics task. Python is better for machine learning, data science task. R is the easiest programming language of the world because it has been developed by the mathematician and statistician. Okay, so the terminology is very simple. So I just removed these all from the global environment. Here you see it is the R Studio, is the integrated development environment of R. Generally, every language provides the GUI, graphical user interface. If you work with the graphical user interface, it would not be more interactive. So we use some mostly some IDE like the Jupyter Notebook. We use in the Python, the PyCharm. We use the Spider in the Python. Python has so many IDs, but the R is also has, but the R own IDE is the R Studio, which is very good and very good interaction between R programming and the R. So here, the first window where I will write the script, and a script is always saved in the real time. Okay, and on the down there is another window, that is the console window, and here you will get the output. I remove all the elements from the console window, so it is blank now. And the third one here is the environment. Whatever the object name you have given there in the environment, the R environment, whatever you send, then it will recognize it. It will memorize it, and whenever you ask about it, and it will give you the response. Okay. And later on, there is a files, plots, packages, help, and weaver. Here you will get the this my project univariates I have in this folder. These all files. Okay. And the plots, whatever I will write here and I will run there, it will be plot will be shown here to me in this space. In the packages, whatever I have, the libraries I see here. I could install new libraries. I could update the libraries. This is a help. You could take write type something and you could type here. You could find it. Weaver is the interactive graphs. The plots is the static and Weaver is the interactive graphs. So there is a difference between plots and Weaver. And this is the history what I have written the code in the previous lesson, connections and the tutorials you will see here also. So there are so many data sets in R. I will show you first how to find out the data sets in R. How many data sets, what are the data sets in R. You just write down the data and use this round bracket and just run it. So you will get a list of data sets. So this is a air passenger data set, BJ sales data set, BJ sales dot lead, and there are so many data sets. Okay, for practice. So I am using one of the data set which is called the empty cars. Motor train car road test. This data set we are going to use. And how we read this data set in our environment, I will show you. This is my script. And I will give some object name to that data set. Suppose I am giving the MD, my data, abbreviation of my data. And empty cars data set is there in R. I just control enter I could use, or I could click on here run. Any one process I could do. So here you see this data set is now in our environment. If I want to view this data, how does it look like? I just click here, I will get this is in an Excel sheet format like, and I will see these are the columns and these are the rows. So these are name of the cars, the Mazda RX4 model, Mazda RX4 wagon, Datsun 710, Hornet 4 Drive, Hornet Sport About, Valiant, Duster 360, Mercedes 2004 240D, Mercedes 230, Mercedes 280. So these are all the models name, Honda, and 32 vehicles are there in this data set. 11 variables are there. So mileage of the car, cylinder, number of cylinder, displacement of piston, horsepower in metric tons, 1,000 pounds, sorry. Draught, weight in 1,000 pounds, horsepower in horsepower. This is the weight is in 1,000 pounds. QSEC, VS is a type of engine, V-shaped engine and the straight engine. AM, gear transmission, automatic and manual. Number of gears, forward gears. The reverse gear is always one. number of carburetors. So what I would like to explain, you want to see how the description of these all variables. So what you have to do. So I will explain you the default data set. You just have to put the question mark, then write down name of that data set and just control enter. So you will get this thing and you will see there the data was extracted from 1974 Motor Trend US magazine and comprises fuel consumption, 10 aspects of automobile design and performance for 32 automobiles. So the mile fuel consumption along with 10 aspects. So they are the 11 variables. Mileage is there, mileage, cylinder. So this they have given the air units also. So you will see here this is the description. Everything is there. Now I come to the point that we have read the data. Now we have to inspect the data. That is the definition of the data analysis. Inspecting the data. How to inspect the data? So there is a structure. So we see the structure STR. STR for the structure of the data we will see. MD is we have given the name to the data. And you see it is the structure. It is showing me the structure of the data. That it is a data frame. There is 32 observations, 11 variables. And all the variables are given. Mileage is a class is numeric. It is a numeric variable. Numeric variable or the integer variable. In R, we could use for mathematical calculation. If it is the character or the factor, we could not use it in a calculation. Okay. So mostly the character, we could not apply mathematical operation there, but in the numeric, we could apply the mathematical operation. So you are getting these all. The numeric, the mileage is a numeric, cylinder is a numeric, displacement is a numeric. In the numeric, there is two categories. One is the discrete, second is the continuous. So first off, we have to bifurcate those things. Which one is discrete, which one is continuous? That is very, very important. If there is all numeric, if there is categorical, okay. So first I see the type of first class of first variable. So how could I find whether it is continuous or discrete? So I will use a unique function. What unique function? How many unique values are there? So MD dataset name, and if I just run this, I will get here. Look at this. The Mazda. It is giving me 21, and this the whole data it is providing me. It is not giving me the unique. I want the unique one, different. So what I will do, I will go with column by column. So MD is the data set name, data frame name I have given here in the environment, and I just put a dollar. And when I put a dollar behind the data frame name, I will get the drop down. Here all the variables same are. So I will select one, mileage, and I will see how many unique values are there. So you will see in the here in the console, we have the unique. So we have 16 here, 30.4 is the 16th element, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 unique values out of 32. So we have the total 32 observation. Out of 32, we have the 25 unique values. So it is a continuous variable. There are so many unique values. Many unique values. If you have a many unique values, it means it is a continuous variable. So I will just using the hash which mentions the comment, and it is I will just mention here continuous. Okay, I don't have to do any other thing with continuous variable. Now I see the another one. Unique. The second variable, I will select the cylinder. And you see there are only three unique values, 6, 4, and 8. 4 cylinder, 6 cylinder, 8 cylinders. Okay. So there is only three unique values, very few unique values. So it is a discrete variable. Does it make sense to you? What does it mean by this discrete and continuous? This is very, very important. Is it clear to all? Yeah. Now, I come on one more column. Unique VS. So there is only two values we have, 0 and 1. So 0 and 1, 0 for the VSAP engine, 1 for the stat engine. So this 0 and 1, if we divide any number by 0 by this column, somewhere you will get the INF, infinite value. Okay, got it? So for the descriptive point of view, we should convert this in a categorical format, the VNS. So we could make a new column, which is a type of engine. It is a type of engine. So VS is not understandable for a descriptive purpose, and the inferential we could also use. So what I will do, I will convert this binary to categorical. How do I convert this? Okay, so just a moment. Uh, I'm making one new type of engine. So if I'm giving some space between the words, I will use the quotes. Otherwise, there is no need to use the quotes. So type of engine. This is the expertly data analysis. I'm explaining how we start this. So we will use some if else our MD dollar VS is equal to 0, then it should be V saved engine, because V is the first, V is for 0, V saved engine. Okay, and otherwise for 1 it should be state engine. I do this, I just run this, and you see there are 12 variables now instead of 11. Type of engine, V saved and state engine. So this column is not now useful for me. I could remove this column. Okay, just a moment. Just a moment. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Just just Lakshmi. Okay, so just noting down the name so I could send the feedback form at your email. Am I audible to you all? Yes. Let me share my screen. So I just explain you that how we have converted this, how we will drop the column. That is very simple to drop any column in our MD dollar, the column name, which is the VS, we are going to drop. Just put the null in capital, all in capital, and just put this. So there are 11 variables now. That VS is not there now. So in similarly, we could we have here also 1 0. We could convert these in. And if you have the discrete variable, if you have the discrete variable, like we have seen that the cylinder is a discrete variable, we have the 4, 6, 8. But this number keeps some meaning. No, there are 3 levels: 4 cylinder, 6 cylinder, and 8 cylinder. But they are not on the continuous integer. No? So sometimes we convert them in a factor. No? It would convert them in a factor form. There is a one more data type which is a factor in R. So you could convert this in factor. So I'm just giving you the introduction. We'll go in deep in the training program, how we do these all. These are the very necessary steps we do with the number of cylinders. If I show you the as dot factor, MD dollar cylinder. So it is now factor. Now how I will show you, but in the data frame, it will not give you any other glimpse. It will give you the same. Okay, the cylinder 648. But in a structure, if you see the structure of MD now, so here is a factor with 3 levels, and a cylinder factors with 3 levels. So 1, 2, 3 are the factors. 4, 6, 4. It is given the 1 first level. This is the second level. And this is the third level. So first observation we have the 6 cylinder. Second observation we have the 6 cylinder. Third observation we have the 4 cylinder. In this way it is giving us. So we have converted this in factor. In the previous case, it was in a form of character. Now numeric. It was a numeric. We could either convert the character in factor or the numeric in factor. That is the very, very important thing. And I will, and during the training, I will show you the importance of this converting in factor. It is not there in the Python. It is only in R. So for the data analytics, R is better to than Python, because it gives us the lots of response together. We could do the inference and this is very easily on R. Okay. Lots of things we could do here or on R in a very easy way. So do you have any question up to now? You could ask me. Yes. Later on, I will explain you about the curriculum and the other things of this course, what we are going to cover here. Yes. Yeah. Someone Sheikh Dislat. Yeah. They have any query? Sija? Dhanmaya? Yes. Yes. Do you have any query? Lakshmi? No, no query. Okay. Akanksha, do you have any query? Anil ji? Mohammed? Do you have any query? Okay. So let me share the curriculum and this all. This I have given you some simple idea. In this small workshop, we could not cover the whole thing, but I will share that. Just a moment. I will just share the curriculum. Are you getting this screen? This PDF on your screen? Yes. Yes, anyone? Okay. So this is the course certification. You will get the dual certification here. Uh, it is 3-month course again. It is a 90-hour course. Alternate days, 2 hours, thrice a week. And after 3 months, there is a 3-month internship also. Okay. So it is basically 6 months. You could understand that. So you will get 3 certifications, 2 for this course and 1 for internship. What 2 certification you will get here? You will get 1 for the data analytics and 1 with business analytics, because business analytics is a subdomain of data analytics. So you will get the dual certification over there. And the key learning objective of this whole course is to understand the fundamentals of statistics and mathematics, work with different types of data using R and Python, database management using MySQL, and the business intelligence using Tableau. These all tools you will learn. There are 5 modules we have. So first module, which will show you the essentials of statistics and mathematics, it is totally theoretical. So you will read these all things: the role of statistics, mathematics, classification of data, measure of central tendency, measure of dispersion, correlation, regression, analysis, probability, and various distribution functions, and polynomial. There is the mathematics also, and basic calculus, matrix algebra, and basic trigonometry. This all you will learn here. Later on, you will data analytics, machine learning using R. So here is data types in R, basic syntax of R, expertly data analysis with R, data visualization, data preparation, inference and analysis with R, reliability of data, factor analysis, principal component analysis, parametric test, parametric, non-parametric test you will learn here. Then the predictive analysis, the machine learning, the linear regression, logistic regression, decision tree, random forest, time series analysis, clustering and segmentation. Database management using MySQL, introduction of database management system, data warehouse, the structure of data warehouse, types of schema, difference between transactional database and data warehouse, SETL, what is SQL and RDBMS, data definition language, data manipulation language. These you will cover in the MySQL. And the module 4, you will learn about data analytics and machine learning using Python. The same course we will learn with the Python also. The types, data types in Python, NumPy and Pandas, basic syntax, and other things are remaining same with R. We do with the Python also. And the final and the last is the business intelligence module, introduction of Tableau architecture, working with Tableau dashboard, implementing data blending and aggregation, data visualization, real-time analytics, Tableau generated fields and specific fields, connecting Tableau with R, deploying R scripts on Tableau, data connecting for organizing data, Tableau graphics, reports and calculation, data storytelling with Tableau. This all you will cover. We are also sending you this on your mail, this syllabus and the PPT There are few links of videos. We have given the classification of data and the simple linear regression concept video, then the simple linear regression using R, and the simple linear regression using Python. The duration of course is, we have told you, the 3 months and 3 month intensive, total 6 months. Fee is 10,000 only for Indian participants. For foreign participant, it is $150. Okay. Mode of sessions would be online live session. Okay. It is not a recorded one. You will get the recordings later on after the session, the same day, and you will get the scripts, whatever the materials. So study material, PDF scripts, and the lecture recording would be available to each participants. So this I will send you, and if you are wishing to join, you want to transit you in this field, you could join it, and you will get much more things here in these sessions. Okay. So this is a very small amount we are charging for 10,000 only for 3 months course and the 3 months internship. So is there any query? Anyone of you? Yes. Is there any query do we have regarding this course? Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Lakshmi. Bole.
For the data scientist, R is sufficient or Python is also necessary, sir?
For data science, the Python is necessary, but for data analytics, R is sufficient. If you are in academic field,
Yes.
R is sufficient. But in this course, why we teach with both tools? Because the theory is same, concepts are same of all the algorithm. Only
Yes.
the some syntax are different in the different language. Okay.
Yes.
So we should not be the tool centric.
Yes.
At present, the R and Python is running on the prime language as a data analyst. The Julia is coming
Yes.
in the role. In the next 5 years, Julia would be there.
Yes.
So, but we should know all these tools. If you learn, you will switch to the Julia later on. At present, there is no demand of Julia. No much demand of Julia. Demand of Julia is there, but not much. The
Yes.
demand of R and Python is there at present. But the language of future of data analytics would be Julia. There is no doubt.
Thank you, sir.
So it is a very small amount we are charging for this whole course. The all sessions will be interactive like this, what we are studying today. Everything would be explained in the whiteboard. You could ask any question anytime in the session, or it would be run on a very not on a fast pace. In the starting, it would be very slow. You would understand each and everything, the non-technical person. Later on, we will get the speed in the course. So it would better, and we will provide the assignment after every topic. You will get one assignment related to that, and we will perform any 5 capstone project we will cover there in the whole course. Okay. So I hope the session was fruitful for you. So thanks all of you to spend your time with Cypher Analytica. Okay. So we'll send you the Vivo. Can you rename yourself or you write your mail ID so we could send you the stuff? Then Maya, thanks. Thank you, Tanushka. Thank you, Sheikh Disat. Okay. And Anubhav, thank you. Susmita, thank you, everyone. Surrender, thank you. So we will organize one Q&A section later on, whatever the queries you have, or one half an hour session or whatever we will arrange. So whatever the regarding the course you want to discuss, you could discuss on later on, or you could connect us by the everything is given on the poster, the flyer, the contact number, the WhatsApp or the contact number you could use. You could email us, whatever you want. Okay. So thanks everyone. Have a nice Sunday today. Enjoy. So we'll send you the recording of this all and the curriculum, everything on your mail. Okay. Thanks everyone.